Exploring World History by Ray Notgrass with Charlene Notgrass and John Notgrass. Lesson 13, Ancient Science and Mathematics. Discovery is a great experience. To realize something that no one had realized before brings a unique feeling. This is a major difference between mankind and the animal world. We have no indication that deer or dogs understand a circle or a computer, or that they can even know that they know anything. Human beings understand, discover, and know that they do both. The Sumerian and Egyptian civilizations achieved significant scientific breakthroughs, which we still admire and use today. God equipped them with minds and with the powers of observation and analysis. People in those ancient societies used these abilities to understand and affect the world in which they lived. History is more than just dynamics and dynasties and wars. The history of science is one fascinating part of the story of mankind. Sumerian contributions. The old saying that necessity is the mother of invention is true. The challenges and opportunities of life present us with the motivation to advance and invent. So it was in summer. The opportunities of trade and business and the need for improved farming techniques, coupled with a curiosity about the world in which they lived, encouraged the innovations that the Sumerians developed. The Sumerians are credited with developing the sailing ship for travel by sea. This was a great advance over rowing. As an agricultural people, Sumerians developed the yoke and the wheeled cart. They developed considerable engineering prowess with the system of irrigation they developed using the Tigris and Euphrates rivers to water their fields. Summer also saw the use of metal tools and weapons, particularly those made of bronze. Copper had been in use for some time, but around 1600 BC, Sumerians discovered that bending tin with copper to make bronze created a much more durable material. The prominence of bronze continued until the development of iron implements, beginning about 1200 BC. Perhaps Tubal-Cain's developments in the use of metals had been lost after the flood and had to be rediscovered by the Sumerians. See Genesis 4:22. Sumerians were interested in numbers and time. They used a base 10 counting system, but they also used a base 60 system, which influences us even today. You can see the practicality of a base 60 system by considering how many numbers divide into 60 evenly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 12, 15, 20, and 30. The scholars of Sumer divided the hour into 60 minutes and the minutes into 60 seconds. The basic measure of weight was the shekel. 60 shekels made a mina, about 1 pound. The 60 minas made 1 talent. Mathematicians in Sumer divided the circle into 360 degrees and learned how to calculate the area of a rectangle, an important skill for building ziggurats with rectangular bases. They determined how to find the length of the hypotenuse of a right triangle and developed the concept of the square root and the cube root. Multiplication tables also existed in ancient Mesopotamia. The Sumerians and their ancestors took note of the starry firmament above them. They followed a lunar calendar that had 7-day weeks. Sumerian astronomers learned how to predict eclipses accurately. Observers in Hammurabi's time charted the movement of prominent heavenly bodies. Sumerian and later Mesopotamian architecture was good, but builders were limited to some degree by the lack of stone in the region. They used the arch and the vault and the dome in their construction, but mud bricks did not work as well in these features as the stone used much later in Roman buildings. Contributions of Egypt. The Egyptians also took note of the sky. They developed a calendar with 365 days, 12 months with 30 days each, and 5 extra days at the end of the year. But with no provision for a leap year, each month had 3 cycles of 10 days each, and the days were 24 hours long. Egyptians also developed the sundial to be able to tell the passage of time from the movement of the sun's shadow. They are credited for using water clocks by the time of the Exodus. Residents of the Nile River had a great interest in medicine. Their practice of embalming the dead led to the investigation of the human body. The frequent illnesses caused by parasites in the Nile River led to attempts to find cures. Egyptians had a great concern about cleanliness. Joseph observed that the shepherds, whose occupation was not clean, were loathsome to the Egyptians in Genesis 46:34. No doubt the best known scientific advances in Egypt was the building of the pyramids. These burial vaults were intended to be a permanent and four-sided shape was reconsidered as the most durable. Stone was plentiful in Egypt, and the huge blocks were cut into the quarries and apparently rolled over logs roads to the worksite. Earthen ramps provided the scaffolding to raise the stones into place as the pyramids were built. The largest pyramid at Giza is 476 feet high. Each side at the base is 760 feet long. By comparison, the Statue of Liberty is 151 feet high, with the base adding another 154 feet in height. The Giza Pyramid is made of 2.3 million blocks, each weighing 2.5 tons. The sides were once covered with marble, but this material was stripped away by thieves long ago. Another Egyptian contribution to architecture is the obelisk, a four-sided shaft sometimes made from a single stone. Obelisks were used to honor gods and rulers. The Washington Monument has the shape of an obelisk. The Temple of Ammon at Karnak, constructed over a period of several hundred years, is the largest religious site in the world. The temple is 1,220 feet long and 340 feet wide, covering 10 acres. It could contain four Gothic cathedrals from medieval Europe. The Great Hypostyle Hall has 134 huge columns, and the central worship area reaches 70 feet in height. Conclusion. This lesson lists just a few of the many accomplishments and contributions of the Sumerian and Egyptian civilizations. Scientists, engineers, and mathematicians today benefit from the work of previous generations, but their counterparts in ancient Sumer and Egypt had fewer shoulders to stand on and fewer tools to use. The accomplishments of those ancient scientists are therefore even more remarkable and show what human beings can do. As great as these works are, they are not as important in God's sight as knowing Him. The pharaohs were laid to rest in impressive pyramids. By contrast, Moses, as a child, was laid in a single basket covered with tar and pitch. We know whom God held in higher esteem. The pyramids are not even mentioned in Scripture. The children of Israel built for Pharaoh storage cities, Pithom and Ramesses, Exodus 1:11.